Today I'd like to start with a rather interesting stencil that you can use to plaster cylinder-shaped stairs or other cylinder-like structures. So the outcome is way better than when you try to do the plastering the usual way. Notice that the upper step should be prepared in advance because the whole structure rather depends on it, and if you do it the wrong way, it will affect all the other stairs. So the whole thing is based on 2 rails and 2 mounting plates. The anchor that supports the stencil goes right into the middle of the first step, and so the second pivot point is a small wheel. Next on our list is this interesting screw gun nozzle. So one way of using it would be after the stone laying, for instance. The main component here is a 60mm drill, which goes into a 20mm polypropylene pipe. Also notice the bin. It's made of plywood and a piece of plastic, and as you can see, it's very useful. So it's a pretty interesting and fine piece of equipment that will simplify the troweling process. Next thing I'd like to show you is this quick action clamping tongue. And because it has an extra clamp, you can actually use this thing as a sort of mini vise kind of thing. Or you can make it a tool holder of some sort, which will allow for an improvised sharpener. So not only you can sharpen drill bits with it, but you can also do a bit of a manicure. So that's nice. I'm pretty sure that not many people know how to handle the wire crochet hook, so I think that this ratcheting ring spanner based adaptation may very well serve as a reasonable alternative. All you need to do is to drill 2 holes like these, and so this way you can just use it with a screwdriver. And that's actually a lot faster than when you use pliers. So this device here is a spring compression finish that you can make out of a cylinder gun. So you can see a piece of pipe resting on the bearing. The lower ring was cut, and those ends were bent and sharpened. So in this particular case, the device is used for installing the spring on the engine valve. So there you go, fast and easy. And so finally, here's an interesting DIY tile leveling alignment system. Its main advantage is that it's reusable, and you can normally use these things only once or twice, so that's cool. As you can see, clerical clamps and dowels were used at this point. So after the whole thing is dry, you can easily dismount and use it next time just as easy. Before you proceed to the actual act of welding, it's always a good idea to prepare the parts using an angle grinder. To fix any kind of parts, especially small ones, you might want to use this kind of vise. There's an axle-mounted clamping mechanism, and by screwing the thrust screw you can regulate the clamping force. You gotta agree, there's no better way of preparing the parts than this. So the next thing I want to show you is this magnetic mass. The magnet of a proper diameter is placed into the bearing cage, which serves as the body. And because the magnet kind of dangles a little bit in there, you can clean it super easy. So as you see, a great tool to work with. And here's an interesting way in which you can organize your workspace. The welder is fixed on a roller suspension, which you can actually move along the guides under the ceiling. This way you don't need to carry it around, which is good because these things are usually quite heavy. And what's also cool is that cables are hanging down like that, so I think that's also kind of useful. And now let's have a look at this fully functional and very cool portable welding table. It's got trays for all sorts of small things and tools. It has an extension cord over from one side, and from the other side there's a place for a chop saw. There's also a height adjustment regulator that makes it all nip and tuck. There are hooks and a place where you can store all the clamps. And if you look at the bottom, you'll see that there's a neat shelf and there's also one in the front. I'm sure many of you are gonna like this caster rack with angle clamps. Let's say you have 4 of these, so you could use them to weld rectangular structures. And because of the ways the clamps are positioned, you don't really have to squat, so that's also kind of a reasonable solution. This thing might just substitute a whole fully functional carpentry workshop. When installing a certain equipment, you get a great belt grinder. A grinding machine. Or a mini turning lathe. Need a circular saw? There you go. There's also a milling element if you need one. Everything you see is a high-class, good quality stuff. I even thought that was a factory finish. When fixed vertically to the wall, it makes a great drum grinding machine. This position also allows miling. To make things more comfortable, you might want to widen the table, but it seems like a great tool anyway. This next thing is a very interesting magnetic drill stand made out of what was left out of the screwdriver, a door closer, and magnetic coupling. This finish is great for drilling and small diameter threading. You can adjust the height as you please. Threading can be done easily by means of the reverse mechanism, a great piece of work indeed. And how'd you like this adjustable dovetail jig for a disc cutting machine? It allows making spikes very neatly and accurately. The basic material here is plywood. It only takes a few seconds to install. When stacking piles of wood, it often needs pressing. Devices such as these will make it a lot more comfortable. Those are easy to make and are very handy at work. This handmade filler machine is somewhat specific, but it's a real pleasure to look at. The way it's thought through and made is just brilliant. So, how'd you find today's compilation? Please share your thoughts and preferences in the comments. All the links to full videos are in the description. Don't forget to subscribe and press the notification button so that you wouldn't miss upcoming episodes. Thank you for watching.